I never planned to become a monster. But monsters are born from pain. And she gave me more than enough. The night I caught her cheating wasn't the beginning. It was just the crack that let all the rot crawl to the surface. For years I had suspicions. The late nights. The cold distance. But love is blind. And trust? Trust is the rope we hang ourselves with. I came home early from a business trip. Didn't tell her. Didn't warn her. I wanted to catch a smile, a kiss, maybe even surprise her with that bracelet she'd been eyeing for months. Instead, I caught her in bed with another man. Our bed. She didn't scream when I walked in. Didn't even try to deny it. She just stared at me. Half naked. Sweaty. A sheet clutched to her chest like that would somehow protect her from what she'd done. He jumped up, stammering, grabbing for his clothes. He knew me. I'd seen him once before, one of her co-workers. Funny how those innocent work drinks turned into something else behind my back. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there holding the bracelet box and said, "Don't worry. I won't interrupt." And then I walked out. But I wasn't done. I couldn't just let it go. Couldn't move on like all those self-help books tell you. No. I was going to make them both pay. But first I needed a plan. I spent the next 3 days in a motel. Didn't go to work. Didn't answer calls. Just sat there with a notebook and a bottle of whiskey, writing down every piece of pain and every possible way to destroy them. Revenge isn't rage. It's patience. She thought I'd scream, break furniture, maybe even beg her to stay. That's the script men like me are expected to follow. But I had something better than rage. I had silence. And silence lets you listen. Think. Build. I started with her phone. She never changed her passcode. Same 4 digits she used for everything. Our anniversary. Stupid, sentimental mistake. I copied every message, every photo, every video. She had no shame. Hotel bookings, messages saying she was at the gym, when she was actually bent over in cheap motel rooms. The more I scrolled, the calmer I became. Because the more she gave away, the more power I took back. He was married to 2 kids. A mortgage. A lovely little family, at least on Instagram. Perfect. That gave me even more leverage. Step 1 was making her believe I forgave her. I went home on a Friday evening. Brought flowers. Apologized for not being enough. She cried again. Swore she'd change. Said she'd cut him off. I nodded, smiled, and said, "Let's take things slow." She thought she won. She moved back in that weekend. I installed hidden cameras in the house. Bedroom, kitchen, even the bathroom mirror. Not to catch her again. Just to keep control. Every smile she gave me I logged. Every time she checked her phone and smiled, I noted the time. She never stopped talking to him. Not even after I came back. She just got better at hiding it. Or maybe she thought I really was that naive. Either way, I let her dig her own grave. I needed her to feel safe. To believe the worst was over. That's the only way the knife cuts deepest. While she laughed at my jokes and cuddled on the couch, I was opening accounts in her name. New credit cards. Small loans. Just enough to ruin her score. She never checked. I made sure the bills went to a P.O. box I rented 2 towns over. Slow bleed. Quiet destruction. I told her I was changing jobs, needed help with paperwork. She signed forms without reading them. Power of attorney notarized. She never noticed. Why would she? I was hers again. I visited his wife the following week. Didn't knock. Just left a flash drive on her car windshield. Photos. Screenshots. Dates. Locations. All organized by month. I didn't sign anything. Just left a small note that said, "He's been lying for years." She filed for divorce within 2 days. He lost his family and didn't even know who burned him. He messaged my wife, "Something's happening." She replied, "What do you mean?" He stopped responding. I deleted all his accounts using the recovery questions I found on her phone. His backup email. Her old college address. He wasn't careful. None of them ever are. 2 months passed. She started talking about kids again. Said we should try, that it would bring us closer. I told her I needed a little more time. Truth was, I was done playing house. The next stage was public. I printed everything. Bound it into a booklet. Spiral spine, clean cover. Titled it, "My Wife and Her Lies." I mailed it anonymously to her parents, her sister, her boss. She got fired that same week. Apparently, her company had strict policies about ethical conduct. Screwing someone else's husband didn't fit that code. She came home sobbing. I held her. Told her everything would be okay. She never saw the little smirk I had behind her back. When the sheriff showed up with papers, she didn't understand. I had filed for divorce 3 days earlier. She screamed. Finally. Said I was ruining her life. I told her she ruined mine first. She packed 2 bags and left. Didn't even ask to stay the night. She had nowhere to go. Her family didn't answer her calls. Her friends stopped replying. I blocked her number the next day. But I wasn't done. I created a website, told our story, posted proof, screenshots, a timeline. I didn't use names, just initials. But people figured it out. She became a cautionary tale online. Her face ended up on Reddit threads, YouTube videos titled, "Wife Gets What She Deserves." She deleted her socials, moved to another state. Still wasn't enough. I waited 6 months. Then I showed up in her new town. Not to talk. Not to confront. Just to watch. She worked at a diner now. Wore a name tag. Took orders. Smiled like she meant it. I sat at the corner booth, hat low, glasses on. She didn't recognize me. Not like this. Not the man she betrayed. She brought me coffee. Said, "Rough day?" I just smiled. Not anymore. She walked away. And I left $100 tip. She'd spend it without ever knowing it came from the ghost of the life she destroyed. I didn't want her dead. I wanted her to wake up every morning and remember what she lost. I wanted her to see my face in strangers and feel panic. I wanted her to scroll through job listings, wondering if another background check would flag what happened. I wanted her to Google her own name and find nothing but ruins. Because that's what betrayal deserves. Not screaming. Not violence. Just a slow, methodical dismantling. And I was patient. I got a message from a mutual friend a year later. "Did you hear about her? Apparently she tried to start over. New boyfriend. He left her after 2 months. She drank more. Got arrested for disorderly conduct. Her mugshot made the rounds online. I saved it. Not for revenge. For closure. I printed it, folded it, and tucked it behind the framed photo of my new life. A reminder of what I survived. And what she never will. Because when someone shatters your world, you don't glue it back together. You build a new one. And make sure they're never welcome in it again. I never planned to destroy a life. But when someone takes yours apart piece by piece, you don't rebuild. You retaliate. She was everything once. Light, laughter, warmth. But betrayal has a way of freezing even the sunniest memories. I replayed it all. The late texts, the lies about staying late at work, the sudden password change on her phone. I saw it coming. I just didn't want to believe it. So I waited. I waited until I had every piece. Every receipt. Every photo. Every timestamp. Every lie. Then I left. No fight. No closure. Just silence. She tried calling for weeks. Left voicemails. Emails. Handwritten letters in the mailbox of the apartment I no longer lived in. I never responded. I didn't need her apology. I needed justice. Phase 1 was erasing myself from her life. She didn't know I'd transferred the mortgage to my name alone. Didn't know I'd locked her out of every joint account, closed every credit card, shredded every shared document. She came home one day and found her key didn't work. There was a note on the door. "You wanted freedom. Enjoy it." She tried to reach my friends. My family. But they were warned. They knew the truth. No one took her side. Not anymore. She moved in with her sister. Or maybe a coworker. I didn't care. What I cared about was her next move. And I predicted it. She tried to date again. That was phase 2. Her new fling? A real estate agent named Kyle. Nice smile. Bad taste in women. I sent him the file. Anonymous, of course. Screenshots. Photos. A detailed timeline of her cheating. Her face in bed with another man, multiple times, different dates, all marked. He dumped her via text. And she spiraled. A friend of hers posted on social media about how some people just can't move on. The irony wasn't lost on me. While she tried to repair her image, I built a new one. New job. New apartment. New gym. New social circle. My therapist called it reclaiming my narrative. I called it survival. But it wasn't enough. Because I still saw her face when I closed my eyes. Still heard her whisper those lies. So I went deeper. She'd applied to grad school. I knew because I hacked her email months earlier. Had every application, every essay, every letter of recommendation. So I wrote one more. From a concerned party. Included evidence of her dishonesty. A note about her unstable behavior. The fact she was under investigation at her previous job. True, thanks to another anonymous tip I'd sent weeks prior. She didn't get in. She never even got a rejection letter. They ghosted her. Now she knows how that feels. She started posting spiritual quotes. Healing isn't linear. Everything happens for a reason. I didn't disagree. She hurt someone who loved her unconditionally, who would have taken a bullet for her. Instead, she pulled the trigger. So I gave her exactly what she gave me. Loss, silence, consequences. Years passed. I got promoted, traveled, fell in love again, this time with someone who knew how to value what they had. We married in a small ceremony by the sea. No guests from the past. No ghosts invited. On our honeymoon, I got an email from her. Just the subject line. I'm sorry. I didn't open it. I just marked it as spam. That should have been the end. But life doesn't tie itself with neat ribbons. A year later, I saw her. In a grocery store. Pale, thin hair messy under a hood. She was scanning a shelf when she looked up. Our eyes met. For a second, nothing existed but that shared history. Then I smiled. Not cruelly. Not kindly. Just enough for her to know. I survived. She didn't. She left the aisle. Left her cart. I watched from a distance as she walked out without buying anything. She couldn't even stand in the same room as me. That was enough. That was victory. But revenge, it doesn't end clean. It stains. Even when you do everything right, there's something inside that remembers how it felt to be broken. And sometimes, on quiet nights, I wonder who I became in the process. But then I remember who I was before. Soft, blind, willing to believe lies because love made me stupid. That man is dead. The one who stands now. He builds boundaries like walls and never lets anyone close without a map, a password, and a metal detector. One day someone asked me if I missed her. I said no. But sometimes I missed the idea of her. Before I learned what she was capable of. Before I learned what I was capable of. Because pain doesn't just teach you how to endure. It teaches you how to rebuild. And I rebuilt everything she tried to burn. The last message I ever got from her was a single word. Why? I didn't respond. Because you don't owe closure to someone who shattered you and walked away like it was nothing. You owe yourself peace. And I had mine. If you're reading this, maybe you're standing where I stood. Confused. Broken. Angry. Let me tell you this. Revenge doesn't heal you. But it does free you. And sometimes, freedom is the most beautiful ending there is. The final step was always the hardest, even after all the careful planning. After all the moves, all the calculated actions, you find yourself standing alone in the space you created, surrounded by the remnants of a battle no one else saw coming. No one else had to live through. But what do you do when everything falls silent? When the fire that once burned so brightly now only smolders in the dark? You learn to live with the silence. It becomes a part of you. Not the kind of silence you seek for peace, but the kind that lingers because you've learned to survive. And the man you've become is not the man she knew. It's someone else entirely, someone sharper, colder, and more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Months passed since I last saw her at the grocery store. She was just another shadow in my life and I was content with that. Content with the idea that she had no place in my world anymore. She was a memory, and memories have no power unless you give them permission. But memories have a way of clawing back, don't they? It was a normal Friday night when I got the text. I was sitting at home, sipping whiskey, watching an old movie I'd seen 100 times. I was content. My life was calm. My future was secured. Then my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated for a moment before picking it up. Hello? Why did you do it? The voice on the other end asked. It was her. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at the screen trying to find the right response. The anger was long gone, but I could still feel that icy emptiness creeping in. I couldn't escape it. I didn't want to. You really want to know? I asked after a pause. There was a long silence. Of course I do, she whispered. I leaned back in my chair looking out the window at the night sky. It was calm out there. Peaceful even. So unlike the storm that raged inside me every time I thought of her. Because you destroyed me. You broke me into pieces, I said slowly, my voice surprisingly steady. And when someone does that, you don't let them walk away. You make sure they feel the weight of what they did. And you never let them forget it. I didn't mean to, she trailed off, her voice thick with guilt. I never meant to hurt you. I thought. You thought I wouldn't find out? You thought I wouldn't see through your lies? I could hear her breath catch. She had no words left. You were always good at playing the victim, weren't you? I continued, my voice low and even. Always good at making yourself out to be the one who suffered. But in the end you're just like everyone else. A liar. A cheater. A coward. The silence was deafening, but I didn't care. I wasn't finished yet. You can apologize all you want, I said. But it doesn't change anything. You destroyed me and now you have to live with it. You'll never know peace. You'll never know what it feels like to be whole again. Because I'm the one who got out. I'm the one who built something better from the wreckage of what you left behind. I hung up before she could respond. And in that moment I realized something important. I had won. The months that followed were just as calm. The storm inside me had finally settled. I moved forward with my life, built new relationships, and focused on the things that mattered, things that had nothing to do with her. But life, as it often does, had a way of throwing curveballs. And sometimes the past catches up with you in ways you never expect. I was sitting at my desk one afternoon, working on a new project for the company, when I received another call. This time the number was familiar. I didn't recognize it immediately, but the area code was from her city. I felt a pit form in my stomach, but I didn't let it show. Not anymore. I answered. Hey. Her voice was weak, like she had been crying. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to apologize. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've been through hell and I know I deserve it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know how sorry I am. I felt the old anger flare up in me, but I pushed it down. I had no desire to engage with her anymore. I had moved on and I was proud of that. I don't need your apology, I said coldly. You lost your chance to make things right when you chose to destroy everything we had. I didn't know what I was doing. I was lost. But I found myself again, in therapy, and... Stop, I interrupted, my voice firm. I don't care about your therapy. I don't care about the excuses you've made for yourself. I'm done with you. You were a part of my past, but that's all you are now. And I'm not going to let you pull me back into your mess. I'm not your emotional punching bag anymore. There was a long pause on the other end. I'm sorry, she whispered. I don't expect you to understand, but I never stopped loving you. I smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. It was the kind that comes from knowing you've won a battle without ever lifting a finger. You should have thought about that before you destroyed everything, I said before hanging up. And that was it. That was the last time I ever heard from her. Life continued to move on. I kept working hard, building my future and leaving the past where it belonged, behind me. But something changed in me after that last conversation. I no longer had the burden of needing closure. I no longer needed to be right. I had won. And I had learned that sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't in the things you do to someone else, but in the peace you find within yourself. It wasn't the perfect ending, but it was my ending. And it was enough. I thought that was it. I really believed the story had ended. But life has a cruel sense of humor. Just when you think you've buried something deep enough, it claws its way back up, gasping for air, dragging pieces of your past with it. It started with a letter. No name. No return address. Just my name written in shaky, unfamiliar handwriting. At first I thought it was junk. But something about the weight of the envelope, something felt off. I opened it. Inside was a single sentence. You don't know the whole story. My heart dropped. It had been over a year since I'd last heard from her. Since I'd walked away from that chapter of my life. Since I'd found peace. But peace is fragile. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back. Who sent it? Was it her? Or someone who knew her? What story was I missing? The next morning I found an old flash drive taped to my car door. No note this time. Just the drive wrapped in black tape, like it had been deliberately hidden, or protected. I knew I shouldn't plug it in. Every part of me screamed, let it go. Move on. Don't open old wounds. But curiosity is a disease. And I was already infected. I plugged it in. There was only one file. A video. It was her. But not how I remembered her. Her eyes were darker. Her voice shakier. She looked scared. If you're watching this, she began, it means something has gone wrong. I leaned closer, breath caught in my throat. There are things I never told you. Things I couldn't tell you. But if you're in danger now, it's because of me. Danger? What the hell was she talking about? She hesitated, then whispered. They're watching me. They've always been watching. And then the screen went black. Just like that, my so-called peace shattered into 1,000 sharp pieces. The greatest revenge may be peace within yourself. But what if the story was never really about revenge? What if it was a warning? What if the past was still alive? I stared at the black screen, my heart pounding like a war drum. All this time I thought I was the one in control. I thought I was the one pulling the strings. But maybe I was just another puppet. A tool for something much bigger. I looked around the quiet room, the weight of silence pressing against my chest. The walls that once felt like safety now seemed to close in, watching me with invisible eyes. But no. No more running. No more hiding. No more fearing ghosts from the past. I had taken my revenge. I had reclaimed my life. And whatever shadows still lingered in the corners of my story, they could keep watching. Because now I was watching back. And this time, I wouldn't blink.